Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of 1990s Represent. This is another special report. We haven't done one of these for a while, and these kind of come up as cool stuff happens that doesn't necessarily fit into any of the other categories. Those categories being music, movies, and video games, or it doesn't fit into a particular year. And I recently did something that I feel fits the theme of these special reports perfectly. So I had read and seen it online that there was a museum with a very cool 1990s exhibit, and I actually went to that museum. So it's located in Denver. So we actually came down. I think we went to it over Labor Day weekend. I would have done this video sooner, but we were traveling the week after, or like the few days after Labor Day. A friend and I flew out to Los Angeles to go to the Oasis concert. So I decided to kind of do this episode when I got back from that trip. So yeah, we came down over Labor Day weekend to this museum. I believe it's called the History Colorado Museum. I'll leave a link in the description so you can check it out. But they have this cool 1990s exhibit there, and I think it's there until around the end of October, like October 26th, I think is like the last day. And it's a really cool exhibit. They have various halls in this exhibit that have cultural moments of each of the years, so 1990 through 1999, with various things about culture, music, movies, current events, and things like that. So I have an image slideshow I'm going to load up here with some of the pictures I took of that exhibit. So I'm going to turn that slideshow on right now. So this is kind of the entry to the exhibit. Has some 1990s stuff on it. You obviously see the Furby and the iMac. You have the Game Boy on there, things like that. And that kind of points. It's down. I forget what level it's on, but it's downstairs in this museum. So that's kind of the entryway. Next up, we have this. This is the I think the exhibit is called the 90s, the last decade before the future. That's kind of the theme, and how it's kind of like the last decade before stuff was all kind of digital. It's kind of like the 90s is kind of like a hybrid generation in a way, where we had technology, we had the internet, but it wasn't as all consuming as it is now. A lot of stuff we still had to do kind of in person, things like that. It's why I love the 90s. Like, we had technology, but we weren't super, like, we weren't so entrenched and reliant on it at the time. Like, the internet back in the day was kind of like a treat. Like, you would go on it for a few hours, and then you would go and just do your normal thing. Like, we're on it all the time now. But yeah, this is the kind of another part of the entry. After that, we move into this little area for like 1990s technology. So I had a very similar desk to this back in the 90s. I don't think mine had that kind of curve to it. I think mine was just more straight, but it was the exact same like wood paneling, and had like various drawers and things like that. So you obviously have boxes up there for products. There's like a Windows box up there, some older software. I think I have the next shot. I think is a little bit more of that, or basically getting online in the 90s, because the 90s is kind of when the internet started to become like more mainstream, more focused on consumers. Like, the internet's been around for like a long time. Obviously, the government and schools had it for like much longer than we have. But I feel like the early to mid 90s is when it kind of became a thing that just the average everyday consumer could use. So there's that. There's some various software. So we have like a vocabulary software, a print shop, the kind of dummies books. Like, I had a very similar phone back in the day. So we have that. Next up here, I took a picture of this because it just reminded me of how many of these AOL CDs like did you get in the mail, or were included in like a PC magazine, like PC Gamer maybe not PC Gamer, but like a lot of computer like magazines would include these CD-ROMs with like 1,003 hours or 53 hours, or like before that it was floppy disks. So I just thought that was kind of funny. Next up, let's see what we have next. They had a Blockbuster video like area of this exhibit, which is really cool. They had a lot of like shelves with movies on them, both VHS tapes and DVDs. And they had this desk. So that desk actually behind it, I don't have a picture of it, or at least in this slideshow. But they have like an employee handbook, I think, from Blockbuster. They had some of the old Blockbuster plastic bags. I don't know how 90s those bags were because they still had blockbuster.com on it. So I think that could have been very late 90s maybe. But yeah, you had this little mock Blockbuster setup in there, which is really cool. Because like Blockbuster is a key kind of thing for the 90s. Like you would, get done going to school, you would go to Blockbuster, get a couple movies, maybe some games. You would get like a pizza, have like a sleepover. It's kind of like key peak 1990s. But moving on to the next shot here, that's just another shot of the logo there. So pretty cool. After that, just some more display of the kind of tapes and some of the DVDs and stuff. You obviously have Titanic up there, which is huge. There's a Jerry Maguire tape, and so on. And just another shot of that's kind of the desk. You can kind of see the employee handbook from there. There's like an old the thing on the left on the screen is actually not. I thought when I first saw it from a distance, it was one of the old credit card like swipers, but that's actually a VHS or a VHS just tape rewind machine. I remember I think my friend of mine had one of those where you wanted to watch another movie, but you didn't want to bother, so you would take the movie out of the VCR, throw it in the rewinder, rewind it, and then load the other tape right into the VCR to get like the maximum amount of movie time during like a sleepover. It's definitely kind of a very 90s thing. Next after that, just more of the Blockbuster display. So we have there's Aladdin there. I think there's I see Free Willy on there, Lion King, and so on. Next up here, just some other kind of 90s technology, like old cameras, phone books. I think the thing on this little case here was that all this stuff now that's in here, these little games and cameras and clocks, there might be some calculators. That's all stuff now that we just have in one device on our phones. So like obviously maps and things like that as well. Next up, some old cell phones here from I believe 1993 up to 1999. I think is I think the first one there is like the one kind of toward where my hand is in the photo is from like 1993, and then you have some other ones from like 98, 99, and so on. Old ways that we enjoyed music. So like obviously Walkmans were still a thing in the 90s. Discmans became a thing as well. I remember getting a Discman, I think in Christmas of 1995 is when I got my first one of those. And then some of the very earliest MP3 players are like late 90s, like maybe like 32 megabytes of memory or something kind of crazy like that. But yeah, just old music players right there. After that, we had a whole wall of just key 1990s albums. So obviously a huge garbage fan, so I took a picture of that one. But you have like the 1993 Janet Jackson album there. You have Stone Temple Pilots Core. I believe right below the Fish album is What's the Story, Morning Glory by Oasis. Looking at this wall was just really cool. So we have some more shots of that coming up. Some other albums there. So there's obviously Jagged Little Pill, a very important album for me personally. It kind of got me into music. I've said this on this channel multiple times. That album, Garbage's first album, and the Foo Fighters' first album are kind of like the trifecta of albums that really got me into music and taking it more seriously back in 1995. There's a wider shot of the wall there. And you can see on the left there is the entry to the 1994 hallway. These hallways are all interconnected. They're not huge. But yeah, you can basically go through them from 1990 through 1999, and they all have stuff on the walls of various like historical events during that time period and so on. And there's a guitar there. I believe that was signed by, or a Melissa Etheridge guitar, I think. After that, this was just a bunch of old concert tickets because, as we know now, concert tickets are basically it's all digital. They're all on our phones. I think there are websites that make like commemorative tickets to be kind of like this, but yeah, this is just a bunch of old ticket stubs from concert area or concert venues in the area. So pretty cool there. There's another shot of some of the other albums on the wall there, as well as the guitar. Like I definitely noticed Blood Sugar Such Blood Sugar Such Magic by the Red Hot Chili Peppers on there, and so on. So next up, and we have just the not a huge fan of the Backstreet Boys, but I do kind of appreciate their music on occasion. But yeah, we have this display of their uniforms from that time period. And next up here, this is actually probably my favorite thing to do in the exhibit, is they had this whole wall with these magnetized tiles for various hit songs from the 1990s. And what you would do is you would create your own little bracket list. So like this is my bracket list here. I think I have so like Smells Like Teen Spirit is on there. Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys, Everlong by the Foo Fighters, 1979 by I almost said Red Hot Chili Peppers, Smashing Pumpkins, and so on. And then you kind of compete in a bracket against yourself, but your friend is also doing it on the other side. So this is my bracket, and then my friend created this bracket here, and we kind of had it's like, well, round one, it looks like it's Waterfalls by TLC versus Ain't Nothing But a G Thing by Dre and Snoop, and then you move the song that you think is the winner to the next part of the bracket. The one below it, you move it to that, and then at the end you end up with two songs. So I ended up with in winning my bracket here, I had Smells Like Teen Spirit by Nirvana. My friend had Nothing But a G Thing by Dre and Snoop, and then you kind of argue over what song wins. Obviously, I think Smells Like Teen Spirit is the more iconic song of the 90s. Nothing But a G Thing is good too, but I feel that Smells Like Teen Spirit is just a better song. It better defines the genre. Another friend of mine described it as that kind of Smells Like Teen Spirit is the kind of definitive grunge song, while Nothing But a G Thing is a great rap song. It's not the definitive rap song, so Smells Like Teen Spirit wins. And that we kind of put their things up there, but I still think, Smells Like Teen Spirit would win in that situation. After that, speaking of Nirvana, we have this is one of the walls. I took a bunch of pictures of some of the stuff in these walls, but I didn't really want to have this video be super long. So one of the ones that was more kind of iconic, at least important to me, was 1994. You have the passing of Kurt Cobain. I think the one to the left of that is like the attack on Nancy Kerrigan. And one interesting thing about this exhibit was going in there, it was kind of bittersweet because it was definitely felt like a better time, but there was also, like dark stuff happening in the 90s. The 90s isn't all like sunshine and rainbows. Like you have like stuff like the Oklahoma City bombings and things like that, and obviously the passing of Kurt Cobain here. So yeah, like there was like you gotta take the good with the bad, I guess. So, but the little halls did a good job of highlighting the kind of highlights of each year, as well as some of the stuff that wasn't so great. After that, we had this was the part of the 1994 wall here. We have some stuff about Pulp Fiction, so obviously a big hit for Quentin Tarantino there. And then this thing with about talking about the Tarantino effect and how kind of after that movie came out, it definitely kind of changed filmmaking. A lot of filmmakers started kind of emulating Tarantino's style. I think like the most iconic, or maybe not iconic, but the most notable, I think, Tarantino kind of copycat movie is a movie called Go from 1999. I may cover that on the series at some point as well. But yeah, that was just an interesting thing about the Tarantino effect, because after Pulp Fiction, you definitely kind of noticed an uptick in that style of filmmaking. Here we have just some 1990s video game consoles. Obviously, not all of them are here, but we have the on the left you have the Sega Genesis. Next to that, you had the PlayStation by Sony, and then the Nintendo 64, as well as the Game Boy Color. Obviously, not showing the Super Nintendo. That's a kind of an iconic one as well. They did have, I didn't get to do it, but they did have an area that actually had a 1990s like game room set up, and they had it like on a CRT. It was a N64 playing Mario Kart, but my friend and I couldn't get over there because like whenever we would go there was just kind of a line of people waiting to play Mario Kart. But that was cool because they actually had like bean bags that people were sitting on and doing your classic split screen gameplay. Whenever I was over there, though, there was only two people playing it at a time. They did have four controllers plugged in, but I wonder if just wear and tear on those controllers over, because I think this exhibit opened in 2024. So it opened like I think like in the like last year. So like I can imagine those controllers by that time were probably just shot, and maybe only a couple of them worked. But after that, we have just like kind of like this was a cool area where it was like essentially a 1990s living room, like a recreation of that. So you have like a bookshelf there with some books on it, but you have these old like CD towers, and then you had this kind of wood like like stereo like just de- like drawer with a kind of very 1990s looking stereo. That's pretty cool. There's a tape player there, stuff like that. And then you have there's some more of another shot of the kind of the bookshelf for that. And after that, we had this kind of this reminded me of the TV that my friend used to have that would was a huge TV, but I don't know if it's running off of like a DVD, but it has like a bunch of this like clips from old like '90s shows. I grabbed a shot of this because I remember it was an episode of Star Trek Voyager. Star Trek Voyager. I believe it was the episode Timeless, where it's like Kim and Chakotay like go. They're like riding this wave, like trying to guide not Enterprise Voyager through this thing to like shave off time from their journey. Voyager ends up crashing. Everybody except for Kim and Chakotay survive, and then they had to figure a way to send the message back in time to Voyager. It's a really cool episode. But yeah, that was kind of part of the '90s living room display. The gaming area is what's kind of beyond that TV there. Then we have some stuff from 1990s movies. So that is on the left. You have Tom Hanks's uniform from Saving Private Ryan on the left side, and then over on the right you have Whoopi Goldberg's one of her costumes from Ghost, and then just various photos of iconic 1990s films. Obviously, on the top there you have Terminator 2. Below that, I think like two down, you have like the talented Mr. Ripley. Slightly diagonal, there's like Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion, and so on. So yeah, just a cool wall of iconic images from '90s films. And then I believe this is our last shot here. We have the outfits. This is from Adam's Family Values. This is Angelica Houston's and Raul Julia's albums from that film. I guess we have a couple more. And then just some 1990s fashion here. So just very vibrant colors, like the day glow, like uniforms. Like the purple and teal just remind. I don't know. I can't tell from this if that is a Charlotte Hornets jacket, because I remember the Charlotte Hornets were that starter jacket, and just that color was like really popular in the early '90s, like '92, '93. I remember a lot of people in my school were wearing Charlotte Hornets gear, just because I don't know what the appeal of it was. I wasn't a fan of the team. I don't know if it was like something like with like the B was like maybe some kind of symbol or the colors. But yeah, I just remember like that color, like teal and purple, being huge in the '90s. And then finally we have some other just '90s fashion here. Looks like there's like some Tommy Hilfiger logos and stuff like that. I remember reading a Reddit post recently where it was the big brands of fashion in the '90s. I suppose Abercrombie and Fitch would be in there too, but it would be like I never wore any Abercrombie and Fitch. I don't know if I ever had any Tommy Hilfiger either, but I remember there was Tommy Hilfiger, Polo by Ralph Lauren. There was I think it was Nautica, And I guess you could throw in like starter. Like I had a starter jacket. I don't know why I had a Miami Dolphins jacket back in 1995, but I did. So there was again Tommy Hilfiger, Polo, Nautica, starter. What was the one I said right before that? Oh, Abercrombie and Fitch, maybe. I never really had any Abercrombie stuff though. Sorry, excuse me. But yeah, that it was just a really cool exhibit. Again, I'll leave a link in the description to check it out. I'm not associated with the museum or anything like that. But yeah, if you're, I believe the exhibit closes on October 26th. So if you're in the Denver area, it's worth checking out. We actually came down to go to it, and then that was like over Labor Day weekend, so we had the day off. And then, like I said earlier in the video, I would have put this up last week, but we were traveling to the Oasis concert in Pasadena, so ended up getting it filmed now. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this video. We'll do more of these special reports as as I deem them necessary. Or if I see something that's cool that doesn't fit into the other years of the decade or the other categories, we'll throw those up here. Again, these will probably just be more kind of like sporadic, like they'll just pop up whenever. But yeah, that's gonna do it for now. So remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time. Thanks again for watching. Take care and have a good one. See ya.